Hey my friends, I'm Gwen. Welcome to At Home with Gigi. Thanks so much for stopping by. Are you ready to kind of dabble your toes into getting ready for fall, but not quite ready to go all in? Well, if that's the case, I got you covered. Now let's get started. For this DIY, we're going to be using this cutting board from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to go ahead and give it 2 coats of Waverly chalk paint in Snow White. Once it's dry, we're going to go in with a pencil, and I'm going to use a ruler to try and get my lines as straight as possible, and I'm just going to draw in some faux shiplap lines. Once I finish drawing in the lines, I'm going to go back over each one with just the tip of my finger and just very lightly run it over and just kind of smudge each of them out so the lines doesn't look quite so harsh. I've also covered the back of the cutting board just to make it look a little better, and I'm using some twine, just hot gluing it, burning my finger as usual, and then I'm just going to wrap the twine around the handle of the cutting board. I want to take a quick second and say thank you to my subscribers for your wonderfully sweet comments and all of your support. I appreciate it so much, and welcome to all of my new subscribers. Thank y'all so very much for subscribing. I truly appreciate it. And if you're new here, hi, welcome to At Home with Gigi. I hope you'll decide to become a part of our YouTube family. To the front of the cutting board, I'm going to be adding this rub-on transfer, and this came from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just lining it up and finding my placement as best I can. And then to hold it in place so it won't move around and shift on me, I'm going to add a little bit of tape to each of the 4 sides. To help with the transfer, I'm going to be using this little stick, and I received this with some rub-on transfers I bought off of Amazon. But really, you could use a popsicle stick, anything like that. I'd intended to use that little plastic thingamabob scraper, whatever you want to call it, that's laying there on the table. That's from Dollar Tree as well. But this stick worked so well, I just kept using it. Now, y'all, will tell you, this was a process. For whatever reason, it did not want to come off, and I worked, and I tried to be very careful and not cause the transfer to shift around, and I believe it did shift just a little bit, and it came out so light. I did ponder if I should even show this DIY. I personally love it. It just looks very faded and worn, like I've had it in my kitchen for quite some time, and that's where I have it setting up right now. But y'all have to tell me what your thoughts are. Also, I think if I had not added the faux shiplap lines and then smudged them out, that might have helped with having a brighter white background. But hey, you never know until you try something, and then not everything is always going to work. But again, y'all tell me what your thoughts are down below. We're going to make a very simple bow using this ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just pinching it in the center, making sure my loops are even, and then I'm going to use my clothespin just to hold it in place while I make a shoestring bow out of several pieces of raffia, and then we're just going to layer it on top. I'm also going to be adding in a couple of strips of this pitberry, and this is also from the Dollar Tree. Now, guys, I've had this in my stash for quite some time. Usually Dollar Tree has it every year when they bring out their fall stuff, so hopefully you can find it this year as well. Once I have everything in place, I'm just going to take some twine and just wrap it around the center, and then just keep wrapping until I have the amount that I want, and then I'll just use some hot glue to hold it all in place. I will go back and snip off those excess pieces of raffia that's too long and just kind of clean the bow up and give it a good shaping and fluff it up really well. Then all we need to do is add a little bit of hot glue and pop it onto the handle of the cutting board. I think it turned out super cute, and I love how it looks in my kitchen. It's just a perfect piece for a very neutral late summer, early fall. If you're not ready to start decorating for fall yet, this is the perfect piece. As always, this is just an idea. You can always use a different type of transfer, a page from one of the calendars you can pick up at the Dollar Tree. I know they have the new calendars out right now, at least mine does. Anything like that. But I really would like to know what your thoughts are about this cutting board. Today's video is part of the Talented Creators collaboration that's held each month and is hosted by Aurea with DIY with Aurea and Loli from Loli D's Creation. And this month their guest host is the amazing Dave from Dave's Wreaths and Things and the awesome Cynde from Z9 Designs. And I'll have their channels along with the playlist listed down in my description box. As always, make sure you hear from the playlist. Hey, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. For this project, we're going to be using one of these long signs from the Dollar Tree, and you can see I'd removed the heart on the back at some point in time. We're just going to flip this over, and I'm going to give it 2 coats of Waverly's chalk paint in the color Truffle. Once the paint was dry, I'm going to go in with Rust-Oleum's Linen White and just an old chippy brush from the Dollar Tree. And I had intended to just do a very light dry brushing to break up some of that really dark brown. And y'all know me, I always get heavy-handed. And in this instance, I think it was a really good thing because I think it really works better with this project. We're going to add 3 beads to each end of the sign, and I have 2 rounds and 1 square, and these are beads I had left over from other projects. I find painting beads so tedious, so whenever I do have to paint them, I just always paint extra and keep them on hand. And because they were looking so new and didn't fit with the project, I went in with a nail file and just scuffed them up just a little bit, and then I'm going in with a little bit of antiquing wax just to further distress them. We're going to loop some twine around each end of the sign as well, and I'm just using a little bit of hot glue to attach it, and then I'll just wrap it around 3, maybe 4 times, and then before I attach the other end, we'll go ahead and add our beads. I've wrapped some tape around the end of the twine just to make it a little bit easier to go through the beads. And then once I get them positioned exactly where I want them, I will tie a knot right at the bottom of that white bead. And then I'm also going to add just a little bit of hot glue to keep that knot in place and to keep the beads from sliding around. Just give the hot glue a moment to set up and flip the sign over, and then just tack down that other end with a little more hot glue, snip it off, and then I'll just repeat the same process on the other end of the sign. We're going to be adding the letters HME to the front of the sign, and I'm using my favorite color of all time, Celery from Waverly Chalk Paint, and I ended up giving these letters 3 coats. And once they've dried, we're going to attach them to the front of the sign. Now, these letters came from Michael's, I believe. I've had them so long, I don't know if you could see that they were kind of beat up, but anyway, we sanded them down a little bit. And for the O, we're going to be using this beautiful white sunflower. And this I picked up about 2 or 3 years ago from Walmart, so I don't know if you can find them again, but I love them. I think they're so pretty. And I'm just going to use a combination of E6000 and hot glue, mostly E6000, just a teeny bit of hot glue to attach these to the sign. I don't know if you can see it on the sign, but I have put a bracket at the upper left corner and the bottom right corner of where I'm going to place my letters, just to help make sure they're going to be even and straight, because I'm notorious for getting things crooked. And y'all, this glue is so thick. I'm using a popsicle stick here to help spread it out. This is not my favorite E6000. My favorite is Gorilla Gel Glue, but I have this big tube on hand, so I need to use it up. So just a little trick there for you. But anyway, back to the brackets. I love these brackets. My honey came up with this idea because, like I said, I'm notorious for getting things crooked. Once I finish this project, I do put a sheet of wax paper over it, and I set several cans of soup and canned goods on top of them overnight just to make sure it's going to keep everything pressed down and in place. I'm going to use Velcro instead of glue to attach the sunflower, and I'm just taking a little piece of Velcro. I've cut it off from one of those long strips you get at the Dollar Tree, just cutting it into 2 tiny little strips, and I'm going to put one on the top and on the bottom. Now this sign is meant to be used all through the year, and you can switch out the sunflower for whatever the season may be. Now I had intended to create a pumpkin to show you, but y'all, I was rushing to complete this and get everything filmed before we left for vacation. As you're watching this, I'm in Mississippi visiting family for an extended vacation, so please forgive me for that, but I will hopefully be able to show you at a later time what it will look like with different things in the place of the sunflower throughout the different seasons. Y'all, I am just in love with this piece. It really was easy to make, and it is just so neutral and just a very versatile piece. You could use it year-round. As I mentioned earlier, swap out the sunflower for a pumpkin for the fall, an Easter egg for the spring ornament, or a little small wreath during the holidays, anything like that. I am so looking forward to adding this to my hutch and just using it, and I absolutely love the color of the letters. That celery color is just so beautiful. For this project, we're going to be using 2 of these tag signs from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to flip them over and use the back side, and I've given them a good sanding down, and y'all, I played mad scientist. I mixed together Waverly's chalk paint in the color plaster, and I mixed in a little bit of burnt umber until I got the color that I was looking for. Then I'm going to go in and give each of the signs 2 coats of the paint, and then I'll let that dry, and we'll move on to the next step. We're going to give each of the tag signs a very generous layer of Mod Podge. I got a little carried away there, didn't I? But anyway, we're going to let that dry because we're going to be using the iron-on method. And what that is, when you place your tissue, and isn't this gorgeous? I love this tissue. You place your tissue, napkin, whatever, over your surface, and then you use a piece of parchment paper or wax paper over the top, and your iron on low heat, and that reactivates the Mod Podge. And then I'm going to repeat the exact same process on the other tag sign with this beautiful page out of this calendar. I love these sunflowers. They're so beautiful. This is one of my favorite ways to decoupage. I do it all the time, and it just never gets old seeing this perfect finish when you peel that paper back. It is just so satisfying to me. Okay, I'm done being silly. I am going to use my sanding block to remove the excess paper from both of the tag signs. We're going to be adding these washers to each of the signs. I just thought it needed a little more detail and embellishment, and I'm using hot glue to attach them. Quick setup, but you may want to use E6000 Gorilla Gel Glue for a more permanent hold. I've already marked off exactly where I want to add my hot glue on the back of this tag because we are going to be stacking them on top of each other. I'm using Gorilla Glue Stick. I find that this works very, very well. I live in North Carolina. It gets very hot here. And these were hanging on my door for quite some time. They did not come apart. So you make your decision. I mean, you can always use, again, E6000 Gorilla Gel Glue, you know, whatever your glue of choice is. To hang our sign, I'm just going to use a piece of rope from the Dollar Tree and tie 2 really large knots on each side. And to snip off this little extra piece, I did wrap it with tape first, and that just keeps your rope from fraying. Yeah, I love this bow. I've used a variety of ribbons to create it, and it's a little funky, but that's okay. I think it's the perfect addition to this project, and I love this project. It's just very inexpensive to make, and I think it's just so pretty, and it's the perfect thing for the end of summer, early fall. If you're not ready for pumpkins and all that good stuff just yet, this is just perfect. Y'all tell me what you think about it. and I hope that you like it as much as I do. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching my video. It truly means the world to me. It is so appreciated. Please don't forget about the playlist. It's down in the description box. And guys, I will see you soon.